Boy, hair and makeup didn't seem to do a good job today. I gotta get on their, I gotta get on their backside, their back porches about that. Anyway, how's everybody doing today? I appreciate you watching. As always, got a lot of things random, as normally, random everywhere to talk about, but all exciting stuff. I read a book not long ago about mini habits, how you start habits that are bigger and it kind of catches fire. And very interesting book. I took a step backwards last week. So here's just one example. The deal was, if you don't get, I've never been in a habit of brushing my teeth before I go to bed. I'm more likely to brush them in the morning. I'm more likely to even brush them after a meal in the middle of the day. For whatever reason, for years and years and years, I've done it when I was a kid and so on and so forth, but I just got out of that habit. And that's probably the single best time to brush your teeth. It's before you go to bed. That way all the sugars and stuff don't eat away. So I've been on that habit since reading the book, and I totally busted that habit last night. And so here's the deal. You make the most ridiculously small mini habit that you have to do at least one thing. So the one thing was, if you're not going to brush your teeth, if that's a habit you're trying to create, if you're not going to brush your teeth before you go to bed, you at least take the cap off or open the cap, depending on it. You open the cap on the toothpaste. And I'd done that about 4 times when I was first starting. And last night I was walking up the stairs and I said, screw it, not going to do it. So it was a rebellious thing. So anyway, happy to report, first thing on my mind when I woke up is I went down and I brushed my teeth right away before I videoed. So anyway, that's one thing. The other thing is, I'm glad you can see it. I just love this this logo. Just love it. It's an eye on its dot. You see the eye on its dot. So, and if you search Amazon, that would be fantastic. Search Amazon. Go to Amazon.com. Unfortunately, it's not available in Canada yet or anywhere else besides the USA. But if you go to Amazon.com and you either put in altogether, no spaces, no nothing, eye on its dot, search that, or do it, take less than 10 minutes. Type in the logo just as you see it, with an eye on its dot right there, no spaces. Either way, it'll take you to the shirt. Why the shirt? Well, we just noticed on Friday, Letterman, David Letterman was interviewed by Tom Brokaw on some kind of Dateline show, a new show or a new segment they're trying to promote on NBC. And lo and behold, Letterman, I believe, I looked, tried to see it for sure, couldn't verify it 100%, but I think he was wearing one of our Eye on Its Dot branded t-shirts. And this being the logo. I couldn't determine if he had the logo on the front or on the back, but the color of the shirt he was wearing was grass green. So I've ordered one for myself. I don't know how long it'll take to get here. Shouldn't take too long. Definitely within a couple weeks right now. I know they're back ordered on those. But I can't wait to put it on for you. And I got another place where you can go, and it'll kind of give you entree, and it's a lot more organized. You go to eyeonitsdot.com/a-store, little a, store, S-T-O-R-E. eyeonitsdot.com/a-store. And I can tell you there on the first page, it'll explain the different sizes and all that sort of thing. On the first page, there are 3 rows. Okay, it's the middle column of the 3 rows. That's where you're going to find the grass green, which is the color, exact color Letterman was wearing. So middle row, eyeonitsdot.com/a-store, and it'll take you right there. And if you're clever enough, you'll click in through there. You'll do a little more draft. It may take you about 10 extra minutes, but you'll get $8 off. So that's almost $1 a minute. By my calculations. You get $8 off those prices. And those prices as they are, nothing's over $21. In fact, Everything's under $21. But if you're clever enough and you read through and you go to another address, and I'm not going to give you the clues or any more clues, you'll be able to get $8 off, which means all the shirts are under $13. Go from under $21 to under $13. That's a pretty good deal. And what else do I have to tell you? Had someone really important, really super important in my life solve that problem, that puzzle. The word listen has 6 letters in it. And those same 6 letters spell only one other English language word. And that word is what I'm asking. What other English language word, the only other English language word, do the same 6 letters that make up the word listen spell? Okay, been postponing this. We're talking about a shill. I'm going to reread you the best definition I found, simplest one. As a noun, shill means a decoy who acts as an enthusiastic customer in order to stimulate the participation of others. The verb is to act as a shill. The shill bid for the expensive carpet during the auction in order to drive the price up. I'll say it again. The shill bid for the expensive carpet during the auction in order to drive the price up. So, I'm not going to repeat the football example, which we totally failed on in the 2014 Winnipeg Blue Bomber season. Epic fail. I think they'll go to their graves never getting it. But it was an epic fail for that season. As strong as the Western Division was, we could have been in the playoffs and we could have competed with anybody as we did that year. Anyway, so it's 1980. I want to say it's around August, September, October of 1980. I'm really away from home for the first time. I'm of significance, living on my own, and I'm in downtown San Francisco, and I've got about $10 in my pocket. And it's what now the millennials and the people talk about going for it. I was going for it. I didn't know what I didn't know, not even close to it. So I'm downtown San Francisco. And my dad prepped me for a lot of things because he had a lot of experiences. He was an older father than most. He had me when he was 46 years old. I beat him by about 8 years almost. 8 years older. Unlike him, unplanned. His was totally planned. Thank God for that. So, I'm downtown San Francisco. I couldn't tell you the street, but it's not far from Market if it wasn't in fact Market. And I love the city. I already love the city. I've probably only been there 3 weeks. And so I come upon a shell game. Literally a shell game. What was it? It was a guy with 3 walnut shell halves. And he's literally got a little pea, a little green pea underneath it. And he's manipulating it. And there's a bunch of people crowded around. And if you start deconstructing, as I'm telling the story, the mechanics, I said there was a bunch of people crowding around. Now that I've had many, many years to deconstruct it, and did some deconstruction on the spot after the fact, a bunch might have actually been 5 or fewer. Now, if you say a bunch, in my mind, it was like a crowd of 20 plus people, 3 deep, barely being able to look in. So I'm watching, and I'm not doing anything. I'm just watching. And I think I'm, at arm's length with life and so on and so forth. I'm in my, I think I'm 23 years old. So I'm 7+ years beyond knowing everything, right? You know everything around 15. Boys are 15, 16. Girls are 12 to 15. So anyway, I'm watching, and this guy's doing this, and so forth. Well, the key is every single time he does an inning, when there's the reveal, I know exactly where the P is. I'm correct every time. Now, the players, nondescript, I couldn't begin to explain who they were, what they looked like, male, female, nothing, because I'm intently concentrating. And every single time, I'm correct. So, I see winners, I see losers. I see winners where, yeah, of course it's there. She picks it, he lifts it, correct? They pay $10. It's 1980, $10, a lot of money. I remember the $10. So, some guy picks it, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way it's there. And of course he lifts it, it's not there. So that guy pays $10. So this seems to go on for 10 minutes. Well, it's probably closer to 3 minutes or 2:45 minutes. So now all of a sudden, I get the courage. I've been correct 100% of the time. Now, maybe I was incorrect once. You gather what I'm saying? It seemed like more than 15. It might have been 4. It seemed like I was correct 100% of the time. It might have been 4 or 5. And 4 or 5, you can't get 100%. If you get what I'm saying. That's 80%. So there's an environment created. Right? So it seemed like I was correct every single time. Who's the opponent? There's a book out that's been out for a couple of years now, I believe. It's called The Enemy is Ego. And as I like to say, ego, macho, and bravado, they all end in 0. Ego, macho, bravado, they end in 0. So it's now my turn. Nobody twisted my arm. Nobody talked to me. A lot of it was actually spoken in Spanish, and I was a lot closer. My first language was Spanish. So I was a lot closer to understanding it then. I don't use it enough now. I can still understand about 80+% of it. I speak it very poorly because I don't use it. So anyway, it's my turn. And that I got $10. And it's burning a hole in my pocket. And it's literally like having 100 today. Literally. So it's my turn. So he does his deal. Shoot, simple. I know it's right there. So I pick the one I pick. He lifts it up. And there's nothing there. So now I'm like devastated. And I give him my $10. And I walk away. And I get about halfway down the block. And I said, wait a minute. And this is my DNA. This is in my DNA. This is why it's going to sound arrogant. But this is why you watch these videos. Whether you're a parent and you think, I got no interest in t-shirts. Whether you're here because of t-shirts for my business and you're listening to it for that reason. Whatever the case might be. You're here for the deconstruct of life. My dad used to say, I'm an efficiency expert. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm an efficiency expert. And he's given that to me via DNA. So when I talk about mini habits, and I talk about learning something, And all these, I talk about parenting. Okay, you don't have to get all the questions right. It doesn't hurt to get the big picture questions right. Every now and then, get most of the big picture answers right. Excuse me. You don't have to get all the answers right, but you got to be there for all the questions. That's the punchline. That's worth it all. You don't have to get all the answers right as a parent. It doesn't hurt to get most of the big picture ones, the big ones, correct. But you don't have to get all the answers right. But you've got to be there for all the questions. And it's easier today to be there than ever before. So there are fewer excuses not to be there for your kids. So I'm halfway down the block and I'm looking back. And here's what I noticed. Those 20 people who might have been closer to 4, 5, or 6 in reality were all a part of it. I was the mark. There was winners, there was losers. They were part of it. They were taking their places on stage. The magician was the guy, the talent was the guy, the presenter at the front of the room, the salesperson who comes from behind the counter and says, "Can I help you?" Or if there's anything you'd like help with, I'm right here. No high pressure. Or he's the teacher, or she is the teacher who has a TA, or it's an adult class, and it's got 2 or 3 students to deal with all of the skepticism that's in the life that we live in. Expand your mind and see it for what it is. So I looked across the way. One of the actors, his or her position was across the street, leaning up against a lamppost. Another one of the actors was window shopping right near where the actual little table was set up. Because if the cops come, it was illegal, so they had to pick up and leave and beat the cops. If you don't think the cops had a pretty good idea of what was going on. It's all a part of the show. Another person was only down 2 storefronts, smoking a cigarette. No big thing. Another one was right next to the hot dog stand, thinking about buying a hot dog. Then all of a sudden, when the signal begins, they all fit into the puzzle because they've got a new mark. And they all know what a mark looks like. See? I was the mark 100% of the time. There was nobody else that wasn't a part of it. There was the presenter, and there were the shills. And the shills had all been rehearsed. All right? Now, when you have a system, t-shirtsformybusiness.com, and it's so thoroughly been investigated, and if you get it, once you get it, you say this plan is bulletproof. I have to put my mental energy into my role. The more I put my mental energy into my role, if all the logistics are taken off the table for me, I can't lose. I can't lose. Some of the shills or the t-shirts simply hanging at your place of business, at your dealership, at your taco truck, at your pizza place, at your jewelry store. If you've got a solid product, you're just increasing the chances of selling it. Selling is a science. And in that, built into that, is the value of a shill. Either learn it or suffer the consequences, either for another year or 3 or potentially for the rest of your life. Thanks for watching. Search Amazon, eye on its dot, 3 times daily. Sorry it's long. Hope it's valuable. I know it is. Later.